Hi, I'm Engineer Hoist, and welcome to the Transformers Tag Challenge. I saw this in the Transformers YouTube community Facebook group posted by Dennis Moulton AKA GotBot a few days ago, and turns out he got it from, the whole point of this game is to pass it on. It started with Nathan Simmons, actually, and there'll be links to their videos of this tag challenge in the description. Now what this is it's 15 questions asking about various opinions on collecting, things, and you'll find out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. The first question is, what is your favorite Transformers toy in your collection? Well, now the answer to that for me changes rather frequently. Currently, I'm going with Masterpiece Sunstreaker here. He came in very early in this year, and so far he's still the tops for me right now. When I got him and out of the package, he came in as Lamborghini mode, and I swear, no kidding, I just stared at him in that Lamborghini mode for like an hour because he is just so good. And then the transformation is very satisfying. It's not overly complex. And then the robot mode obviously is very cool as well. Question number 2. What is the most expensive Transformer in your collection? Well, I'm going to go 2 parts on this one because the most expensive figure is actually made up of 6 figures. And that's this guy. This is the Toy World Throttlebot Combiner, who is really unnamed, but we called him Throttlebots back in my Transformers, top 15 Transformers of 2015. It's made up of Aurora, Grind Rod, Side Load, Trace, Freeway, and Shine Bug, a little gold bug just making the backpack over there. He clocks in at nearly $400. By far the most expensive set I've got, but now as far as a single figure, that's an official figure. Of course, it's Masterpiece Megatron MP36. He came in at like $225, although I'm sure he's going to be supplanted by that Masterpiece Dinobot coming out unless that price goes down. Number 3, how many Transformers are in your collection? And I gotta admit, I kind of stopped counting a little while ago because I got distracted and I haven't been doing a very good job of keeping track. But when I stopped, I was already well over 1,000, as you could probably tell. So yeah, quite a few. And that's even counting like the little mini bots, like the Prime Masters and all those. Those are all individual figures, even the Headmasters. So Titan's Return just made it grow even faster because each figure was really 2 figures the way I count. Now this is a fun one. What is the worst Transformer that you own? And this is pretty easy too. It's this little guy. It's a Revenge of the Fallen Scalpel. I found him on sale a bunch of years ago, obviously right around Revenge of the Fallen, and he got sunburned very quickly. Inside, never saw the outside, but he just started yellowing very fast, and these legs have just never worked. In fact, they just do that. they don't stay in at all. He's an absolute waste. But he's still in my collection because he's a unique Transformer. What is the best or worst place for you to find Transformers? Well, for me, the best place is online, to be honestly, especially once you start getting into the Masterpiece line or the third party or whatever. I tend to get most of my bots from TF Source, although I have gotten some from Big Bad Toy Store and a few other of the online retailers. The worst place is definitely local retail. At least around me, if the figures even show up, they're always 2 or 3 weeks behind everybody else. And for all of the lines that go into 3 or 4 waves, I can just count on not even seeing waves 3 or 4 because wave 1 would be overbought and be shelf warming. So definitely local retail is worst for me. What Transformers figure do you want most? Well, nowadays I tend to get everything that I want, although back a few years ago before I started going completely insane with collecting, there were a few figures from the Transformers Prime line that I really want and I've never been able to get, and they're just way too expensive by the time I finally decided to go chase them down. But I did get a couple of versions of that mold. That would be the Transformers Prime Air Viacon. This is the BotCon, or rather the Transformers Collective Club. Yeah, he did come out BotCon, didn't he? Wingspan, made from the Air Viacon mold. And in the Cybertron's Most Wanted, Transformers Prime Breakdown, this is a Megatron version of him. So I did manage to get the mold. Actually, I think this came from the Breakdown Silas mold, but still, I'm happy to have them in my collection, although it would be nice to have the original ones, because they're like the only holes left in the Transformers Prime collection. What Transformers figure would you like to see made that isn't yet? That one's pretty easy. That's an official Masterpiece Hoist. Now, last year we did get 3 third-party Masterpiece style hoists, which I do talk about in my top 17 of 2017 video. But I would love to see what TAKARA can do with the Masterpiece Hoist, because of all the Masterpiece figures that I've gotten from third-party, which eventually had an official release, the official release has always blown them away. So I really would love to see a Masterpiece Hoist. What is the first Transformers figure that you ever bought? Are you seriously trying to ask me to remember what happened over 30 years ago? There's no way. I can't remember. But to be honest, my first Transformers figure was probably a GotBot. Or actually, to be truthful, probably Machine Robo, because I seem to remember visiting Japan when I was younger, right about that time, and getting some sort of a little transforming figure, probably Eagle Robo Leader 1 type of figure. That's what my memory serves, but it's fuzzy, so I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure my first Transformers figure was the GotBot. Of a true official Transformers, I have no idea. I do have some G1 figures left in my collection, but no way to tell if they're the first ones. Now, recently, what got me back into collecting was back around when they were filming Dark of the Moon. They actually were filming at the location where I work, and once they were done, I had a chance to actually go and meet the real-life Bumblebee and Optimus Prime. Yeah, it was the Camaro in the truck, but still, it's Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. That day, I went out and got this guy, Battle Blades Bumblebee, and to this day he stands up really well. He's, as a deluxe figure, he's much bigger than many other deluxes that we're getting nowadays, and he's almost as big as that movie Masterpiece Bumblebee that we got out not too long ago. This one's kind of a two-parter. Do you prefer official or third-party Transformers, and what is your favorite third-party company? Well, honestly, I prefer the official, just because that's the real deal. That's the real official Transformers, and without them, the third party wouldn't even exist. But third party does put out some nice stuff, and I have quite a few third party Transformers. So now my favorite company, that's a little bit harder to answer because it depends on what I'm getting. If I'm looking, my favorite overall, I'm going to have to say is Iron Factory, because I love the Legend scale figures, because you can amass a fairly decent collection without spending insane amounts of money. They're not exactly cheap, but they're cheaper than some of the bigger stuff like Fans Toys or whatever for an individual figure. And the articulation and detail that they can get into Legends class figures is just outstanding. For the more standard size figures like what's commonly called the Chug scale, I'm going to go with Mastermind Creations, because I love the IDW styled figures that they're putting out with the Megatron, the Tyrantron, and Calidus, which is Hot Rod, and their Drift coming out looks really good, and Tarn and the DJD is just a spot on, and it's amazing. They're blowing everybody away at that class. For Masterpiece third party, there's a lot of good ones, but I'm liking Make Toys. They're the ones that I've got. Like Gundog, their Hound is fantastic, and even Hellfire, their Inferno, I was super happy with that. Masterpiece Inferno still beats it, but they've got different kinds of aesthetics anyway. The Hellfire is spot on to the toy of Inferno. It's just amazing. What is your opinion on knockoff Transformers? It's not really my thing, but I'm not going to fault anybody else for getting them, because I'm fortunate to be able to afford the official product, but I know not a lot of people are, and if that can get people to have that figure and get that enjoyment, more power to you. And some of the more recent, like the upscaled and extra paint jobs from, I think it's like Wei Jiang and some other companies, those are looking pretty darn good, but yeah, I'm generally happy with the official versions of those figures that they've come out with. But the absolute benefit of knockoff Transformers is Fuse KO beatdowns. that right there is worth having knockoff Transformers right there. Who is your favorite Transformers character? I've answered this question quite a bit in my Transformers Earth Wars videos. A lot of people ask, and it's Hot Rod. I can't really put a finger on why that is, but ever since that movie came out, I liked Hot Rod immediately. Before that, the answer was Jazz, so those guys are definitely right there. No idea why, I just like them. What is your favorite Transformers show? Now obviously G1 is great, and I do love G1 just like everybody else, but I'd have to say my favorite Transformers show is Transformers Prime. I know it's a common answer, but that's the truth. It's got great animation, great stories, great characters, and the toy line is just the best we've seen in a very long time, and it's actually taken a dive since Transformers Prime toy line ended. But I also want to give an honorable mention to Rescue Bots. I know a lot of people discount that as a kids show, and it is, but it's still a good fun watch. Which do you prefer, Hasbro or Takara? Well, I prefer Hasbro, mostly because I'm in the United States and that's what we get distributed around here. So just for purely a monetary value, Hasbro is way cheaper than Takara, so I go Hasbro. I don't think I've ever chosen a Takara figure over a Hasbro figure that's been released just because of an additional paint job or something like that. But I have gotten some Takara figures when they don't release a Hasbro version, which is kind of like why I'm missing the Air Viacon and the breakdown from the Transformers Prime. Case in point, Senator Ratbat here. It's a redeco and remold even, because it's got a new head of the Generation Scourge, and this lighting doesn't do him justice, but the purple on him is just amazing. It's got a nice deep, almost like a grape juice color, if you can imagine it, and a metallic finish, and it's just, I really absolutely love this figure. Transformers movies, love them or hate them? Does it have to be one or the other? Because honestly, I'm somewhere in the middle. I've really enjoyed all the movies, except The Last Night. Honestly, I just sat in the theater and I was just shaking my head, because that was just all over the place. It's got some good points, and I think the idea was good behind it, but the execution was just awful. But other than that, I really have enjoyed the movies, and I really can't fault them, because I know some other people have already mentioned this. It has reignited the passion for this fandom, and I'm living proof. I mean, like I said, my first figure of all of these figures that I have came from Dark of the Moon. That got me excited. It got me out there to get those figures, and then I got them in my hand and just enjoyed it, and it's been nonstop since then, to the point where I'm making videos and sharing all this stuff with all of you guys. So I can't say that I love them for their content. I absolutely don't hate them, but I do love that they happened. And number 15, do you think Hot Rod got Optimus Prime killed in the 1986 Transformers movie? Well, first of all, can we move on already? Second of all, the answer to that is no, he did not. Optimus Prime had plenty of time to take care of business before Hot Rod got involved. Now, whether that was Optimus choosing to monologue, or maybe he just lacked the courage of conviction, because, you know, Optimus Prime does have a big heart. But you could also say that, you know, when Megatron spotted that gun, he started begging for mercy, and he was just playing Optimus like a fiddle. He knew he would get Optimus Prime to stall, and then Optimus chose to talk trash, and that opened the window to where Hot Rod had to feel like he had to come in and intervene. And so, no, Optimus Prime had plenty of opportunities to take care of business before Hot Rod got in there. So that's my answer. No, Hot Rod was not responsible. Okay, so that's the questions. I'll have them written down in the description below if you want to participate. And since this is the tag challenge part of this is to call out other YouTubers or friends to come and answer these questions as well. I'm going to call out two people in particular, and those are my good friends Long Haul and G1 Red Alert. I'd love to see a video from you guys answering these questions. You don't have to get out in front of the camera, but I would still love to see them. And I'm also going to challenge everybody else who happens to be watching this video. What do you think? What are your answers to these questions? You can leave them in the comment below or post a video of your own. I'd love to hear from you, so I'm tagging everybody. And so that's going to do it for this Transformers Tag Challenge for this. I'm Engineer Hoist. Keep rolling, my friends. Thanks for watching.